Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira streaming live on Facebook for the first time. I am here with my friend Nadira. How are you, Nadira? Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
And I do these shows because I am trying to expose and promote people in my own way, those people who are enhancing other people's lives. So Nadira joined us from where?
I'm from New York on the East Coast.
And so can you tell us a little bit of how you are enhancing other people's lives?
Sure. So I run a consulting and coaching business. I help people start or grow their businesses, their goals in their career, in their lives, and just help them to reach their full potential and also to really get them unstuck themselves.
Okay, so how did you start this? Are you a coach?
Yes, I am a coach. I do coaching as well as consulting work. I started my business in August 2014 because I always knew I wanted to help people. And in the beginning, like even before business, I thought I wanted to be a social worker. And then I decided to go to business school. And after that, I sort of had like an aha moment where I felt like I could really help people develop business plans. And that's really how I got started, because I wanted people to create something more for themselves.
So share some tips and tricks that you think that everybody else is lacking when they start a business.
I think one is brainstorming, just putting your ideas out on paper. So I wrote an ebook, 5 Powerful Ways to Create a Business Action Plan. And one is thinking about why, like what is your why? Why are you starting this business? And I state specifically that if you're going to start a business just to make money, then you shouldn't be doing it. It really has to be something that you're passionate about. So thinking about what your why is, and then really develop a plan, putting your ideas out on paper. So doing this dump, as I like to call it. And once you start brain dumping and then mind mapping, then you can take the steps of hiring a coach, someone to really help you push through some of your obstacles, anything that may come up in your mindset, and then surrounding yourself with people who are also doing, something similar to what you want to do in your business. And just really focusing. I think that's the most important thing. Just focus on what you want to do and then continue going after it.
So you say people are not brainstorming. So why is that important?
We have so many ideas and questions in our minds that if we keep it in our heads, then it's never going to really find clarity around what we want to do. So, I mean, even in my own process, I've had so many business ideas, and of course I can't do or implement every single one. But once I started to continue just writing, like it helped me to get a better sense of who I wanted to serve, why I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and then some of my next steps and some future planning.
And that's another thing. Like, there's so many people out there who think that they want to start a business, right? They think they should start. There's a lot of MLMs that you hear about. Every company out there is now joining the MLM era, if you will, because they don't want to market it themselves. They want other people to market it for them. Mm-hmm. So for those people who are considering joining a company like that, because I've had a few friends who've jumped from company to company to company within a year. And it's like, for me, it's hard to track of them, which company they are now, because they're promoting a new product every so often. What do you tell people in that category? What do you say to them?
So can you just tell me a little bit about what MLM is? The first time I'm hearing that acronym.
MLM is multi-level marketing.
Mhm.
So those people who are selling Cefal, Rodan, and Fields, and then there's Ambit Energy, and then there's Young Living and doTERRA oils. So you buy into the company, and then you find people who do the same. And if they sell the product, then you get a profit margin.
Mhm.
It's like a stay-at-home business for some people, but the basic thing is to find clients.
Mhm.
And so that's a multi-level marketing. Like Avon is, right? You heard of Avon,
Yeah.
the company? So that's another one. They don't have any of the products in the stores, but they have consultants out there in the world who come and order stuff for you, or they come and show you their products, and then you order from them, or you become a consultant yourself.
Mhm.
That's a multi-level marketing. So there's countless companies out there, candles, jewelry, makeup, oils, you name it. How do you help people in that kind of a field? I mean, a business is a business, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the approach that I take may be a little bit differently. So I think I'm always thinking about ways to be of service, and I encourage everyone who I work with to just come from a place of service and not being the salesperson or trying to make sure that they get this sale, but it's really about who they're serving and what that person needs. And then identifying a way to really just serve them powerfully and think about, okay, so what are some of the steps that they need to implement some of their ideas and really put a plan together. um, I don't do like any fee-based work, and I haven't encountered anyone who does sort of like an MLM. And so I think it would be interesting if I did ever work with someone around that, and just I think that would be something that would push me in my own business.
Okay. So do you primarily work for companies that are starting out businesses in a brick and mortar store, or are they at home businesses too? Because I mean, we as coaches, we start at home and then build from there, right?
Yeah. So I do mostly work with virtual businesses, don't have a physical location. And so that's just, I think there's many different facets of my business. So there's the coaching side where I do individual coaching. I work a lot with, of course, individuals, professionals at corporate companies, and also nonprofits around some of their performance goals and helping them to meet their annual goals, and just doing some training as well around performance, anything that they may need to really just get them to the next level, especially around leadership development. And then my consulting work is really about developing business plans, strategic plans, marketing plans, doing some social media marketing, as well as donor management. And I think the consultation calls that people really focus in on what their next steps are and get them there. So developing different streams of revenue and ensuring, just thinking about ways to be able to build that up.
Okay. I understand all that. Why is that important for all of that? All of the things that you said, performance and then yearly annual goals. I mean, most people, I started it. I knew about it, but I've never implemented any of that. I haven't started a business plan. And I'll tell you this because, it's not in my focus. It's like, what do I know? How do I start a business? And that's it. Why is that such a foundation that's so important in a business? I mean, I haven't done it, so maybe I'll learn something, and so will my viewers.
It's super important because I remember being in a place where I started and then I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any support. I didn't have a coach, and I failed. I didn't have a business for almost 2 years, and I wasn't growing. I had no money coming in, and I'm constantly thinking about what do I need to do? And I kept searching for answers outside of myself. And I think once I started, I hired a coach who is still my coach and really stayed on track. It helped me to stay focused. And I think one is I become a much better person because of it, a better professional, and all around just a better community and coach. And I think even investing in myself, it helped me to, I think convey to people who I work with, like, hey, I'm investing in myself. So And if I didn't, then they'd be like, well, why should I pay you to be my coach or my consultant?
No, that's true. That's awesome. So, when you so were you in the corporate before you started consulting? That's what you said, right?
So I've worked in nonprofit for over 10 years. I'm still a nonprofit. I still work full time, and I run a full time business.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. But so when did you start, as you know, and there's many people out there who I often meet that they're not happy with where they are,
Mhm.
and they are always looking for a, you know, an out, if you will. But one, they don't know what they want to do, or two, they are scared because they feel that this is a steady income stream. I'm happy, unhappy, that's fine, but this is an income stream. But if what if that doesn't is not the venture that I take on is not successful? What happens? What advice do you tell people that? Because I recently was in the car and listened to a segment on the news where they said 90% of the people are not happy with what they are doing. And, you know, they're not happy, you know. So what do you tell people like that? I mean, why is venturing out such a big
Yeah,
thing?
that's a really great question. And it's been coached on, and also that I coach people on. And I think happiness is one, we have to hold ourselves accountable for our own happiness, right? And knowing that happiness is an inside job and not something, no matter what happens outside of us, it can make us happy, but at some point it can make us also very unhappy. So, one, look in ourselves and find, okay, so why am I unhappy? Is it just that I'm complaining about everything and not seeing past this current situation? And I think something that's really helpful is that thinking about possibilities. If we can see something better for ourselves, then we have to own that we're the ones that have to make it happen. Like no one else is going to do it for us, and really taking ownership instead of playing the victim, which is, I know that I used to do. I was very unhappy in my career. My performance at work, suffering because of it, because I was always looking for something outside of myself. And through the years, I realized like there just has to be something better. Like I know it. And when you can feel that feeling, it's really life changing because then you're like, okay, I'm tired of living like this and I'm going to do something better and just go after what I want. So really just taking that ownership.
And that's the step, is the awareness, right? Because when you have awareness and then you have intentionality where you start working on, let's get this thing on the, let's get this road show on the road, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you start thinking about, okay, what can I do? That's where your idea comes in, is like brainstorming. And that's what I
Right.
teach in my when I teach people about the niche navigator. I'm the niche navigator and I help people find their niche. We are good at a lot of things, especially
Right.
women. All women are very good at a lot of things, but doesn't mean that if I'm good at something, I am passionate about it. So
Right.
write the things that down that you're right, you know, like you said, brainstorming, write the things down that you are good at, and then filter out the things that you're passionate about. And
Right.
then we can take the next step, right? So I'm so glad that we same we are in sync today. But that's the idea, right? So you said have a business plan, but first of all, start before you have a business plan to start to brainstorm.
Mhm.
You also touched on, let's project our annual goals. How do you help people do that? Project annual goals and also monitor income.
Yep. So I love using SMART goals and helping people to develop those SMART goals. One, because you're really putting a timeline on it and being very specific, right? Like just thinking about, is it specific, measurable, actionable, um, relevant, and time bound? So I love using that format, and it tends to work out very well, even for a lot of the professionals who I coach. And one is, as their coach, I'm holding them accountable. each coaching call, we're talking about goals, we're talking about the next steps. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just check in with some of my clients via email to see how they're doing. Sometimes they might have deliverables to me, and so we just send them gentle reminders. But those check-in calls that I have, the coaching sessions, is to talk about their goals. Like, we need to talk about movement, and if they do feel stuck, that's where like, why are you feeling stuck, right? Just going through the motions and asking questions and really pushing their thinking, because sometimes we're the only ones who create barriers for ourselves, and we're the barriers. And so we have to identify and unpack and dig a little deeper.
I like what you said. It's like we are the ones, we are the ones that create the barriers for ourselves. And that's what we are, because we stop ourselves doing it all the time. We stop ourselves from doing it because of the gremlins, right? We call them the little gremlins that we have. And I know and I myself am guilty of that, because I know I'm on task, and then all of a sudden somebody's going to say something to me, or some comment or some thought that's going to come and encroach the whole my whole embodiment, and it's like, no, get out of here. And it's very hard to do that. But you're right, I am sometimes my own hindrance. I don't know if everybody else is doing it.
And then sometimes what I found is that if you share an idea with someone, it could be like a family member, for example, and they'll say, oh, that's impossible, you can't do that. And so then their story becomes your story, and you start doing that, and that also can contribute why we take action in our lives. We're just sort of like stuck in that, and we don't recognize, like, hey, all right, good for you. You don't think that I can do it? Well, that's fine. That's your opinion. And I'll just keep moving the way that I feel is best for me.
Well, thank you so much for being on my show. I appreciate it very much. I love the advice that you're sharing. I'm just going to say hi to Ihor, who is watching, and Omar. I have Lance also, who's watching, and Chris Baker. Hi to everybody. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you again, Nadira, for showing up on my show. This is Munira's Musings. And I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. For those people who are watching, please like, subscribe, and share to this channel. I will also modify this video and share it on YouTube, so you can share it with your people. And thank you again for watching. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.